open up your mind and imagine the possibilities. Broadcasting live to you worldwide from the great Upper Midwest. This is Night Talks Radio. Want more Night Talks? We have you covered. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Night Talks Radio for bold and truthful commentary, breaking news, show updates, program guest information, and so much more. And hey, thanks for listening. You're listening to KNTN, broadcasting on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and Apple iTunes. Join the conversation. Hello, Night Talks Nation. Daniel Brewer here, back with you on a wonderful Sunday evening from the great Upper Midwest. As always, Jennifer Gregerson is right next to me, ready to co-host this amazing show tonight, capping off a double-header weekend. Of course, we had a great time last night with Kimberly O'Connor and her stories of alien abduction. Very spooky, very intriguing, and we do hope to have her back on the show in the very near future. We also had some great call-ins last night. Of course, there was some bugs in the system, perhaps, in this case, aliens in the system. But nonetheless, we were able to solve that problem. It always seems that when Kimberly is speaking to us or is on the air, somebody doesn't want her to speak. With that said, though, we do want somebody to speak tonight. His name is Jerry Ayres. He is the founder and lead investigator at Supernatural Investigations of Minnesota. He is also an EVP specialist. He also has his very own podcast, which is quite popular. It is called The Calling on ParaxRadioNetwork.com. That's P-A-R-A-X RadioNetwork.com. Tonight, Jerry is so gracious enough to talk with Night Talks Radio tonight on a multitude of topics and subjects, including Waverly Hills, the investigation of Walcott Cemetery in Faribault, Minnesota, and of course, the big shebang tonight is that we will hear some incredible EVPs that he has caught on tape throughout his career. In the second hour, we will have open lines if you have questions for Jerry Ayres. And of course, that call-in number is 1-507-384-9390. That's 1-507-384-9390. And again, you can use that number tonight in the second hour during our open line segment. If you have any questions for Jerry, his EVPs, or other investigations that we will discuss and talk about tonight on the program. So, strap in for this one, folks. It's a spooky weekend here in Upper Minnesota. We're capping it all off tonight with Jerry Ayres, EVP specialist and supernatural investigator. He's coming up next, right here on Night Talks Radio with Daniel Brewer and Jennifer Gregerson. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Jennifer Gregerson. Night Talks Radio News is coming back exclusively on NTR Facebook. I'll bring you the latest news without the mainstream media spin. The real stories, the real facts, the real truth. Because here at Night Talks Radio News, I do not comply with fake news. Night Talks Radio News weekly with me, Jennifer Gregerson, starting this month on NTR Facebook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Night Talks Radio. Like I said, we have a great show coming up tonight. Jerry Ayres is going to be with us. He's coming up shortly. So sit back and enjoy this one. With me, as always, is Jennifer Gregerson.
Hello, everyone.
And we are all set to talk to our friend Jerry. Jerry, are you there?
I sure am.
How are we doing tonight, Jerry?
Ducky. Just ducky.
Yes, I know the feeling. So, you, my friend, how about we explain how this all got started? When did this start for you? The investigations, the EVPs, all that good stuff.
Well, I would say that, been in it most of my life and everything, but in 2010, I was working for a bar called Stashu's in Northeast Minneapolis. And Stashu's, because of the smoking ban, it killed the bar, so nobody showed up there. We weren't making any money, so the owner decided to sell it to this guy.
Yeah.
So this guy bought it, and I knew him. I knew his brother, and they decided that they were going to keep me, and they actually released everybody else. And so I started working for him and everything.
Okay.
And things were going great for a short time, and then he was doing very shady deals in the place, and I couldn't take it, so I quit. And soon after that, we were driving past the place, and he was outside with his bottle of booze and stuff, and he was like, it's not the way that you're supposed to be when you're trying to get customers in. But anyway, the next day then, someone called me up, and they said, "Hey, what happened to Brad?" I go, "What are you talking about?" They said, "He's dead." And I go, "He's dead?"
Well,
and, yeah, he got into a cocaine-filled rage, and he died from it.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was a short time after that we all decided, just because it was me, my wife, my daughter, and then a couple of friends, and they're like, I wonder if they'd let us in to investigate.
Yeah.
So my boss at the time, he was really into gadgetry type stuff, and he's like, can my wife and I join in? I said, sure, why not, So we went there, and our very first night, we caught an EVP that was like the best, one of the best ones I've ever heard at that time. And then we also caught a photo of a woman upstairs on the second floor, in the window that I was just blown away. And after that, we decided,
Wow.
that's it. We need to start a team, and my wife came up with the name of Supernatural Investigators of Minnesota.
Wow. Interesting. So Jerry, I just have a few questions here for you today.
Sure.
When was the first time that you experienced the paranormal, and was it always a part of your heritage?
The first time, I guess, was when I was 5 years old. And that's when I experienced my first out-of-body experience. And it was during kindergarten class. And I didn't even know what was happening. I mean, the teacher, I was a very shy kid. I didn't want to put myself out there for anybody to look at or talk about. I just blended into the corner, and that was it. And she wanted me to take the baton and conduct the class while she played piano. And I just couldn't, I was trying as hard as I could with all these staring eyes. Well, the next thing I know, I'm up on the ceiling and I'm looking down at everybody. And then I went across the room and back down, and I'm looking out the window. And I'm watching kids play out there for their recess and stuff. And this is kindergarten, so I wasn't even thinking. Then all of a sudden I had this weird, odd, shaky feeling. And I turned around and I looked directly into my own eyes.
Wow,
and
that's strange.
I seen the teacher. Wow. Yeah, it was really weird. The teacher was shaking me like crazy. Yeah. And I went back up again across the ceiling and back down into myself. Then I could hear. Other than that, I couldn't hear nothing. And she's like, "Oh, my God, what's the matter with you?" Kids were crying. And she had one of the aides take me down to the nurse's office. Well, we got down there, and right away, they look down your throat, look in your ears, they take your temperature and everything. Right. And then the big thing she said, now in the 60s, you don't know none of this stuff. She said, "You had a fit."
A fit?
A fit.
Yeah.
So that's what they call it.
Usually, when someone says that to me now, it's like, "Oh, you're going to have a fit over this." That means you're mad about something.
Right. I don't usually think paranormal. Yeah.
What's that?
I don't usually think paranormal when I have a fit.
No, not at all.
Exactly. Well, this is the 60s now, the
right,
60s.
Right. Understandable.
So anyway, So they said, "Well, we're going to call your mom or your dad." And I thought, "Oh my God, don't call them," because I didn't know what was going on. And the last thing any kid wants from school is his parent to show up. Well, my mom showed up, and she was smiling when she come walking in. And the nurse "Well, you better take him to the doctor because he had a fit." And she just looked at her and smiled and said, "He did not have a fit."
Oh, no.
Fine. And I'm bawling like crazy. And as we're going out in the car and stuff, we got in the car. I said, "What's the matter with me?" And she's like, "You had your first out-of-body experience." And I'm like, "What?" Well, I'm 5 years old. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, what the heck does that mean at that age? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you there.
What the heck does that mean at that age?
Right.
I wouldn't know how to react to that.
I know what it meant to wet the bed, but I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
Not saying I was a bedwetter or nothing, but
yeah.
Anyway.
So the second part of the question was, is it part of your heritage? I know when I was speaking to you earlier, you said something about your mother had something like this.
Yeah, well, Mom, I guess I never really talked to her about when she was young and how she got her abilities. I never did get a chance to talk to her about that. She died when I was very, very young. So I don't know. I guess I know Grandpa definitely wasn't psychic. And Grandma, she used to once in a while use pledge on her hair because she liked the lemony smell.
But your mother was able to touch people, right, and see things?
Yeah, she would do things like Well, the first time I really ever seen it, we were in the grocery store, and I was in the cart. I was really little, and she just walked up to somebody. Now, I would call it a zombie face, is the look she had. And she walked up to this lady, and she grabbed onto her arm, and people never fought her when she grabbed onto their arm, and she just looked them in the eye and told them about themselves, about their life force, and that they were supposed to be doing something else than what they're doing now. And they would be like, why, what do you mean? And then she would tell them exactly what happened to them. And a lot of them would like almost buckle down crying and stuff because,
wow,
there was things such as, they were being bullied, or they were being made, fun of by a family member.
Right.
Or it was incest or rape or something like that threw them completely off track of what they were supposed to be in life.
Yeah.
And Mom would talk to them and tell them, it's not too late. You need to, you need to get tough. This is it. You let it out. Don't hold it in, and keep trying and go back for your dreams, because you're not supposed to be doing this.
Right.
And she didn't, people would come to her afterwards and say, I remember them coming to the house and saying, can you do that again? And she's like, no, I'm afraid not. It comes and it goes. And that's all I can tell you. So she never told somebody their future. She told them what they lost from their past. And it was always true.
Wow.
Nothing was made up or anything like that.
But you have the ability to do it as well, right?
Correct. And that was from smoke reading. And that I didn't even know I really had that ability until when we started started as a team in 2010. And we would go to, somebody asked, can you smudge a house? And I'm like, well, let's find out about it. So, you read about it and stuff, and it's like, I don't believe in reading about stuff. I believe in going right to the source of where smudging first really began. And being Native myself, I went down to the American Indian Center in downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And I talked with a couple people, and there was a medicine man that said, this guy here in the wheelchair, go talk to him. He'll help you. And so I told him about what I'm looking to do and stuff. And he said, it's easy. He said, let's go outside. So he had a person there that I could smudge. And as I was smudging this guy, it was like I was looking through the knothole of a fence. And I could see everything that was happening to him when he was younger. And what I seen he was a really chubby kid. And his aunt and uncle were taking care of him. And they both were sitting there extremely inebriated. And they were making fun of him and just making him do all the work there and stuff. Right. So he never got to go to his full potential. And when I told him about what I had seen, and I told the medicine man, and he's like, okay, this is strange. Let's get somebody else. So then he went and smudged somebody first and asked me to go and smudge him. I did, and again, I seen things that happened to this poor young man. Lost his father. His mother just abandoned him. He was raised by his aunt, and he just had a fear of being abandoned. So he never tried anything more. So when I went back, the medicine man asked me, he said, what did you see? And then I told him, and his buddy's face just dropped because that's exactly what he seen. And then he said that he's amazed. He said, I thought I was the only smoke reader around.
Right.
He says, it looks like you are too. You need to keep doing this to get yourself better and better. And now I do it quite a bit for people. And another thing they told me too is do not charge. Because if you charge, you could lose it.
You could lose the ability, right.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. It's something to help people with.
Right. So it's an Indian trait then, is that correct?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Because so far, that's the only thing I've ever heard, is from this gentleman here that can do it. He's from the Blue Earth Indian Reservation.
Okay.
And I heard, as a matter of fact, it was when we were in Santee, Nebraska. One of the guys there had actually told me that he knew somebody there that could do it too. So it is a practice.
Right. So, have you had any strange dreams as you were young when the paranormal started happening?
I had some strange dreams. I mean, like, seeing things and then all of a sudden it comes true and stuff. I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people themselves, without even getting into the paranormal or even believing in it, can do also. But I have had visitations, which when I'm completely awake, if you guys got a second, I got to tell you one that's rather hilarious.
Absolutely.
So I was living in a hotel, and a friend of mine, I was telling her that I keep seeing me dead on 327. And she's like, dead? And I went, yeah, I keep dreaming it. It was like 5-6 times a week I keep dreaming it. And she goes, well, what happens? I said, well, that I'm at the center, which was in south Minneapolis.
Yes.
It was run by, you know what it is? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But anyway, okay. And a friend of mine was doing my eulogy, Bobby Sullivan, who's also a psychic, very good at what he does.
Okay.
And I was up there and I was listening to Bobby, and I kept saying, hey, I'm right here. I'm not dead.
Gosh.
And I looked down, and there's a sign, and the sign says to celebrate Jerry's life.
Oh my.
And the date was 3/27. And so he's got my ashes. Now, there's one thing right there. He has my ashes. So remember that.
Okay.
So I told this friend of mine about it. And then on 3/26, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I'm listening to a radio show, and I'm eating dinner, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and I thought, I'm not going to answer it, so I just kind of threw it to the side.
Okay.
And it kept calling, and I pick it up, and I go, hello, and they go, this is the St. Paul Police Department. And I said, oh, come off it.
Yeah.
And they said, no, this is the St. Paul Police Department. You're in room 420. And I said, yeah. They said, we need you to come out with your hands up. We understand that you have a permit to carry and you carry a gun.
Okay.
I said, yeah. They said, please take the bullets out and stow it on your bed. Wow. And I'm like, are you shitting me?
Right.
And so I open up the door and I look down the hallway. There's 4 police officers on one side, and behind me there's 2 police officers, and they've got shotguns.
Unbelievable.
And I'm like, what the hell? I thought, of course, I'm in room number 420, but that doesn't have nothing to do with that.
Right. There's no marijuana. Yeah.
Yeah. So I took my gun, and I took all the bullets out and stuff, and I came out, and I had very bad injury on my leg, so I'm using the wall. And I make it down there, and they said, we had a friend of yours call us up, worried about you because you're going to commit suicide tonight.
What?
I go, what? And they said, yeah, that you claimed that you had dreams, that you were going to die on 3/27. I said, oh, my God. I said, all right. So, and then I started laughing. I said, I know who you're talking about. And I said, you should be checking her because she smokes dope like crazy and she's fried all the time.
Yeah.
And then I tried to explain to him it's a dream that I have. My mom died on 3/27. I have a dream of a visitation that's coming. And I think it's just a symbolism that it shows me to be dying on that day. And they're like, we don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say they're probably kind of hard to convince.
Well, no, hold on. I said, wait a minute. I said, you don't believe in it? You don't say that when it's a full moon out that people tend to get a little bit wild and violent.
Right.
I said, as a bartender, I know that is true. That's
Absolutely.
a fact. I said, the magnetic pull really does
yeah.
a lot of stuff on Earth to people and to, like, even the ocean, you know?
Yeah.
And then he's, like, rolled his eyes at me, and I said, take these cuffs off now. This is a pile of crap.
Yeah.
You know, so I go back to my room, and they come with me, and I said, where's my gun? We got it right here. I said, give it to me.
Right.
I said, this is just silly.
Right.
And so I called my friend up, and I said, you know, you're really stupid. I said, think about it. What's the one thing that a person couldn't have on the day that I died? And she said, what? And I said, ashes. It takes at least 2 to 3 weeks to get your ashes back.
Yeah.
That means I would have had to die 2 to 3 weeks ago, dumbass. Gosh, I guess I'm still really mad about it.
Wow.
But that night was bizarre because I'm sleeping, and then I get up, I go to the bathroom, I come back out, and right there is my mother standing there.
Okay.
She doesn't say a word. She's smiling. I look over, and there's my mother-in-law and my father-in-law.
Oh, my gosh.
And they came up to me, and they said, we don't blame you. We don't blame you at all. It's okay.
Wow.
And then they walked away, and I'm like, I get up, and I'm like, you know, I look over at Mom, and she just smiles, and they all walk into the shadows, and they're gone. And I know exactly why she said it, and I prefer not to say it.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
So, okay. But, no, it was, that was the weirdest thing, but I do have those visitations every year on 3/27, except for this year. I did not have it. I had it about a week before, which was strange.
Okay. Wow. So every year it was the 27th, except this year it was a week before.
Yeah, it was a week before, which was really strange.
That's odd.
It wasn't. Yeah, that was very odd. It was like everything was off, and it wasn't even my mother. It was this woman. This woman, all of a sudden, it's like I wake up because I feel something. I get up from bed, and I take a look, and there she is. I can't see her face. I can just see her hair. And as soon as I see her, then I get a flash of somebody in my head.
Yeah,
and the flash was somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time. I only knew him for a year. And usually when that person happens, it's either because they're dying or for some reason I need to see them, or B, they're dead and they need to have help crossing over.
Wow.
So this person kept coming from me, and I kept trying to find them. I went to the internet and checked it out. It took about 3 or 4 days, and all of a sudden they call me up. And they're like, this is so weird, Jerry, but in the middle of the night, I get up, and I thought I seen somebody in my place.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you are running through my mind like crazy. And I'm like, really? And they said, yeah. Now, this I've never had happen before.
Okay.
And I said, well, what did you think? And they said, we don't know. Or I don't know what's going on. And I said, well, I know you've had a lot of problems in your past. I found some on the internet. Plus, a friend knows who you are, and that you got a divorce, that you went to prison, that you lost your kids, charges of drugs and guns and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
He's like, yeah, it's been really tough, but you know, it's really weird, man. Sometimes
I guess
when
so.
this stuff comes, it comes. Yeah.
Wow.
But
wow.
I gotta say that the one time I really enjoyed freaking somebody out.
yeah.
Perkins. Yeah, it was our waitress. She was scoffing the paranormal.
Okay.
And we sat down. We were all going to have. We had a meeting, and we were going to eat afterwards and stuff. And she comes over and she goes, "What's this sim?" And someone said, "Supernatural Investigators, Minnesota." Oh, you're ghost people. Woo! You know,
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Which one of you is the big psychic? And
right.
Everybody pointed at me. And it was the first time that it ever happened. I just grabbed onto her hand, And I looked at her and I said, when you were a little girl, you were wearing a red dress and you had a bicycle and you got on your bike and you started to ride and all of a sudden you had terrible pain in your right foot. And she yanked away from me because I guess what happened is that her big toe got caught in the sprocket and it actually ripped her toe off.
Oh, my God. What's going on with toes lately? I just lost my toe recently. Go ahead.
Oh, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
You didn't save it in a jar, though, did you?
What's that?
You didn't save it in a jar, did you?
No, I did not. I didn't want to see the thing. I can assure you that.
Some people like that. I don't know. That's just weird, man.
Right. Well, I could tell you, Jen, she was all giddy about it, but I didn't want to look at my my severed toe.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Wait a minute. As giddy? Did you mean excited about you losing your toe?
She was excited about. I think her exact words were, "It looked cute."
It looked cute.
I said, I don't know where you're finding this cuteness at.
I nicknamed it Toby.
Toby. How about that one? Okay.
Oh,
I think,
she was a cold woman. Dude.
Yeah, I know. It takes some time to figure her out sometimes. I'll tell you that. But speaking of these flashes, so I can go ahead and say that you probably see things before they happen. Essentially, is that true?
Well, once in a while that comes in, but basically is just things that have happened in people's past.
Yeah.
And then, I can read from that and then, hopefully maybe kind of, give them an idea what they can do with their future.
Yeah, kind of a sampling of sorts.
Yeah, I forgot about this. This right here bothers me, and I don't like to even try to do it.
What's that?
Again, when I was living in the hotel room,
okay,
this woman, I'd never met her at that time. Her sister told her about me, and she called me up, and she was like, listen, I've got a problem. I need your help. And I go, what are you talking about? She said, because I had just was going out to smudge, and she said, my best friend is missing. I need your help. And I said, I don't know what I can do for that. You know? She says, this is an emergency. Can you at least try? I said, okay, call me back in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I went outside and I smudged and I tried to get any kind of contact. And when she called me back again, it just rambled out of my mouth. I said that I feel her friend had been drinking. And then this is what I feel.
Yeah.
I feel extremely cold. I feel very alone. I'm very scared. My chest is pounding. I can't breathe. I'm freezing. I now can't hear. I'm gone. And she's like, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. Have you called hospitals?
Right.
And she said, I tried to call hospitals and stuff. The next day, they found her friend's body. She had slid off the road and went into a pond. And it goes through the ice. So there was everything right there. And when she was telling me about it, all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. My chest was just on fire. I was so cold and scared. I felt everything that she went through. And I was after that.
I was going to say that makes sense.
Try to do that. Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
I don't bring myself to do that anymore.
Wow. Well, when you first got these abilities in your life, I believe you were 5.
Well, 5 is when I had the out of body. I really didn't get all of this until the awakening in 1981. That's what Mom called it. Mom died in 1976.
Okay.
But here's another. Should I just tell you?
Oh, go for it. Go for it, my man.
Okay. Well, I got in a car accident.
Okay.
And when we stopped rolling and stuff, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm sitting there, and we're both looking at each other, and we're smiling and stuff. And all of a sudden, the sun pops up. At 2, 3 in the morning, that's not going to happen. But
did you say the sun popped up?
the sun popped up. Yeah,
Okay, all right. This is strange.
So
Okay.
I put down the visor, and I see my mom's face. And she started telling me all the things that I'm doing wrong and that I need to tone it down,
Okay.
that I need to go back to my dad because I wasn't living at home at that time.
Okay.
And I need to help him out because, you know, things are out of control. You know, so he needs to have, you know, someone there. He needs me more than I need him. And then she did say, you know, I was just about to hang up or put up the visor, and she said, and also your friend Maynard. And she knew him by name. She never met Maynard, you know, at all.
Okay.
She said that the doctors say that he's going to have a crushed pelvis and he's never going to be able to walk again. But he'll be walking within 3 months, 3 to 6 months. And she says, but it's time for your awakening.
Awakening.
And that was the end of it. So I put the visor back up, and then there was a million things I wanted to say to her, and I thought, this is my chance. So I pulled it down, and then reality kicked in. And we're sitting there in the truck, and my arm is hanging out. That's how we knew that we were alive. They had to cut the top of the truck off and take us out. And now here's the weird thing is that they had to cut off our seat belts because they couldn't get the seat belts to come undone.
Okay.
We weren't wearing seat belts at that time, which is strange. So I get to the hospital, and it's like the next day and stuff. This doctor, I thought it was a doctor that came in, and he says, do you remember anything that happened? I said, yeah. And he said, what's this thing about your mom? I said, what are you talking about? He said, you were talking about it with me. He goes, I'm the ambulance driver. You were talking about it when I helped them bring you up here. And I said, I don't know. I didn't want to tell him anything. I didn't want him to think I was a psych or something.
Yeah, right.
And he said, you know, the hardest thing of getting you guys out was the seat belts because we couldn't get them open. We had a hard time cutting them. I said, seat belts? We weren't wearing seat belts. He said, well, during the crash, you guys put on your seat belts.
Really?
And I'm like, what? And I said, what about my friend? They said, we have to wait till tomorrow to see him. I said, all right. So then he didn't tell me that Maynard's pelvis was crushed. And the next morning, I went in to see Maynard, and he was just bawling. He says, they said, I'll never be able to walk again, and all this other stuff. And I said, stop it. You will. My mom told me you will.
Right.
And he's like, what are you talking about? And then I told him what I had seen. I said, did you know that they had a hard time taking the seatbelts off us? Seatbelts. He says, we weren't wearing seatbelts. Mom put us in seatbelts.
Oh,
She put those on us. I know it was.
Okay.
And it was just so weird after that.
Yeah.
And 3 months later, they said he wasn't going to walk. He's walking, you know. But he's another one of the guys that later on in life, I moved away and stuff. And then something kept telling me to call him. You got to call him, Jerry. And I had a hard time finding his number, and I finally found his number. I didn't call him for 2 years. So finally, I called him on up. His daughter answered the phone, and I said, hi, is this the residence of Maynard Swanson? And she said, yeah. I said, you must be his daughter. She said, yeah. I said, well, my name's Jerry Ayres. I said, him and I were great friends in high school a long time ago. I said, is there a chance I could speak to him? And she goes, no. I said, is he not home? He died this morning.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
It's like, I couldn't believe it. So after that, I decided whenever someone comes into my head, I'm going to call him right away, just in case. You know, but it happened with Chuck Tesh. It happened with some other friends of mine, too, and stuff. So this latest one with Benny, when she came into my head and stuff, I thought maybe she was close to death.
Wow.
You know?
Wow, that's strange.
So, yeah.
Did you all...
Oh, my God.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was taking a drink of water.
Oh,
okay.
okay. I thought you had.
Right
yeah,
now.
I thought you had something else to say.
Live on Night
Oh,
Talks.
no.
Okay. Did you always want to be a paranormal investigator?
Yeah, when did this kick off?
No, actually, I hated the paranormal.
Really?
I didn't want anything to do with ghosts and stuff. Nothing with that. And then it's, once all this stuff started happening, like after the awakening, even a little bit before the awakening and stuff, I never really wanted to discuss ghosts. I was actually really big when I was a kid. I was into UFOs. I'm from Bemidji, Minnesota, and there used to be so many UFO sightings up there. It was incredible. So that was my biggest thing. And that was actually, even when my mom was still alive, I think I was 8 or 9 years old when I was totally fascinated with that.
Wow. So did...
As a matter of,
Oh, go ahead. Did any significant thing happen to you or someone in your family that made your passion for the unknown stronger along with the paranormal?
I think after Ma passed and the outer bodies that I had and everything else, it was always there, but it took getting married and finding a woman that was also very much into it, that was like-minded like me, and then finding a team that was like-minded also, that we now it's, I couldn't see myself not doing this.
Right.
Sometimes I get mad because sometimes the people are not able to go to do certain things, and one of our biggest thing is we never go alone. You always got to have somebody go with you for safety reasons.
Yes. Well, I know you did speak one thing before we go on break here. You spoke something to me about something happened to your brother. Do you mind speaking about that to us today?
Sure, not a problem. Do you want me to do it now or after the break?
Go ahead. We still
you can
got
go ahead
about,
right now.
15 minutes before break.
Oh, so right now? Okay. Well, I was, it was right after Ma passed away and stuff. I think I was 13 or 14 at that time.
Okay.
And we were up in Bemidji. My brother Jimmy was down at the U of M. He has hydrophysalis, water on the brain. He's had to have many surgeries on his head.
Oh, no.
And as neighbors were visiting him down here in the cities, he all of a sudden he just thought he passed out, but he died.
Oh my
God! Chuck, who was there, and his son or his wife, they ran and got a doctor real quick, and they brought Jimmy in. But what Jimmy seen was he went through this long tube, and when he stopped, he was in this room that was just white, just blinding white, and he could walk. And he had, he always had one leg shorter than the other, but this, he could walk, and he was walking straight, no problem.
Okay.
And everybody, he could see them, and they were white also. I mean, not as in the race white, but they were glowing white. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Mom came to him, and all of a sudden she manifested into our mother. And was like, Jimmy, come with me, and everything, I'm so happy to see you, and all this other stuff. And she, he started asking a couple questions, and then all of a sudden lightning started. And this was them zapping Jim to try to bring him back again.
Wow.
And she said, it's not your time yet. You have to go back. Tell your sister and your brother hello from me. Tell your father, hello, and tell your brother, Jerry, that there's much more going to be coming his way on the awakening.
This is
Amazing. That was so amazing. Well, now could this be something that somebody just seen? Well, number one, how did Jimmy know that this happened to me? Mom never spoke of it or anything like that. with anybody about some of the stuff that happened. But anyway, when Jim came back, he actually, for 7 minutes, hovered over the doctors.
Wow.
And listening to them. One doctor was talking about golf. The other one was talking about fishing. There was 2 women there, and there was 5 guys, so 7 in all. There was one guy who was in the corner, and this was his first time he's ever been around this, and he was scared. So when Jimmy finally got back in his body, and the doctors were talking to him, and they're like, wow, we thought you lost you, and stuff like that. He goes, lost me? I've been sitting up there, he said, listening to you guys.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And they're like, what? And then he said, yeah, you were talking about golfing, you were talking about fishing. This guy over here was so scared he just stayed in the corner.
Unbelievable.
That is so amazing. So there was people from Kaufman University. I think they call it Kaufman University back in those days.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
The paranormal and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, they came over to talk with him, brain scans, all that stuff. And then doctors from Japan even flew in to talk to him about, you know, the not the paranormal, but heaven and all that other stuff and everything, you know.
Interesting.
You know, that's where Jimmy believed. So it's bizarre.
This is incredible stuff.
Does he still talk about it to this day?
Yeah.
He'll talk about it with me, and he'll remember it. But once we're talking about, Jimmy only has the capacity of maybe 12, 13-year-olds.
Oh, okay.
But he remembers it and everything, and we'll kind of discuss it, and then he'll be like, but anyway, that was then, this is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
I understand.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
you know, let's move forward just a smite here. I know we don't. I wish we had all the time in the world, but explain to us about your first EVP event.
Oh, first EVP. That was amazing. That we were at Stashu's. The first EVP we ever got, and we were upstairs. It was myself, Chad, and George.
Okay.
And this was before we were Sim. And I said, Brad, if there's anything you want to say to us, you can go ahead. And before that, I told him, I said, I didn't like you, you didn't like me, but it was a horrible way you died, and people really miss you.
Yeah.
So please feel free to say something. Now, I thought I heard something, but I was wrong. And the next day, we were going over our evidence, and that's when my wife had found a picture of a woman looking back at us from a second-story window.
Wow.
And she screamed, and then all of a sudden we heard from Katie, one of our members. She was going through her voice recorder, and she says, "It's to you, Jerry." And I went, what? And so I went through mine and everything, too, stayed up all night because it freaked me out so bad. And all of a sudden you hear this, "It's over, Jerry."
Yes.
I sent you that EVP, and it was truly amazing because I ended up going over to his brother's house and telling him, you know, I got to show you something. He's like, what? And I said, I'm just going to let you hear it. Well, what is it? I just listen. And then he listened to it 11 times, broke down crying. He said, that's Brad. When did you take this? I said, last weekend. He said, Jerry, he's been dead for 6 months. I know, he's still there. And he was like, oh my God. So he got his parents, and his parents listened to it, and they're bawling and everything and stuff. But I'm pretty sure we've been to Stashu's many times since then, and Brad's no longer there. He finally found his way out of there. So.
Well,
that's
we,
good.
we of course have that EVP. Do you mind if we play that for the audience?
Of course, go for it.
Okay, so this is the first EVP where you can hear "It's Over" in the background. Let's play that EVP.
You definitely can.
Yeah. You can clearly hear somebody.
Yeah, it was totally amazing.
It's clear as day. It's clear as day.
Yeah, it was the most amazing thing that I've ever heard, and that was it. That's what did it. And I was working for T-Mobile at the time.
Okay.
And we used to deal with SIM cards and steps like SIM.
Yeah.
Supernatural Investigators, Minnesota. It's like, no, I don't want to know as a city.
Right.
Everybody thinks it's going to be a card for their phone.
My gosh. Yeah.
I like the name.
Yeah. No, it's a great name. Now we have another EVP here. This one is a little girl. What about me? Can you explain a little bit before we play that one?
Sure. This was a place that we've been looking to investigate down southern.
We are unable to take his phone call. Jerry, are you there? Wow. This is live radio, folks. I can't make this up. It seems as if something or someone does not want us to discuss this type of topic yet again. We are going to reach out to Jerry yet again and see if he can't call back in. We received a phone call, which I was assuming was Jerry, but the system would not allow me to pick up the phone. And now I think we have Jerry back. Jerry?
Ooh, yes. Hello.
What
happened there?
You know what? I can't explain it, but I will tell you this. This is the second night now in a row where we've had this type of situation. It seems as if somebody doesn't want us to speak about these type of topics.
Seems like somebody in the paranormal.
It's funny you should say that because my show that I have, whenever we talk about the Humbird, Hotel Bar and Grill in Humbird,
yes.
This happens. That happens. It shuts it down.
I'm glad that you're here to say that because, not a lot of people believe that or understand that. But, folks, I'm telling you that he simply disappeared when we played that EVP. And when he tried calling back, it would not allow me to answer the phone. And then we had him call back a second time, and I was able to answer the phone at that moment. But, yes, whatever was happening was not allowing me to connect back with you, Jerry.
Wow. What was the last EVP that you played?
We played the last EVP before you seemingly disappeared was the little girl, What About Me EVP.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and
incredible place that was.
Yes. So that is when you disappeared somewhere whilst that EVP was playing. So
Right.
I'm not going to lie. I once again have goosebumps. So, this is one time it's okay, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. You start to wonder. So now I think we were going to hand it off to Jen for a final question or two before we hit the break. So here's Jen.
Alrighty.
Welcome back, Jerry. Sorry.
Because something does not want us to speak. We'll be right back with you. This is Night Talks Radio. And we'll return shortly. Want more Night Talks? We have you covered. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Night Talks Radio for bold and truthful commentary, breaking news, show updates, program guest information, and so much more. And hey, thanks for listening.
Hey guys, this is Jennifer Gregerson. Night Talks Radio News is coming back exclusively on NTR Facebook. I'll bring you the latest news without the mainstream media spin. The real stories, the real facts, the real truth. Because here at Night Talks Radio News, I do not comply with fake news. Night Talks Radio News, weekly with me, Jennifer Gregerson, starting this month on NTR Facebook.
You're listening to KNTN, broadcasting on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and Apple iTunes. Join the conversation. Folks, welcome back to Night Talks Radio. Our guest tonight is Jerry Ayres, but we are having difficulties speaking with Jerry. And it just started a few moments ago when we began playing some EVPs of his. It seems, as I said before the break, some sort of ghost is in the system once more. This happened last night as well, and it seems to be happening again today, to where no one wants to hear what is being said, or at least no one wants it out. And it started with the EVPs. Before then, Jerry was perfectly clear, and we were having a great conversation. So we are going to try to get Jerry back, and we're going to have him call the show once again. And let's see this time if I'm able to pick up his phone call. When he attempted to call back the second time before the break, we were unable to pick up the line. I mean, it simply wasn't allowing me to answer the phone call. And, folks, I can tell you that this is very, very spooky. So we are going to try to reconnect once more. Jerry, if you're out there listening to the broadcast, please contact the show. We are waiting for your return phone call. I hope Jerry is okay on the other end. That is something I didn't think about. But a lot of strange things this weekend, I will tell you that, have been going down. And it looks like we have Jerry calling back. Now, Jerry, are you there? Let's stand by one moment. Jerry, are you there? Jerry, can you hear us? Again, it seems that Jerry is there, but he cannot hear us. So let's take a look at what the problem could be. Jerry, if you can hear me, please stay on the line. We're going to try to figure something out here. Just one moment. Now, I don't see. Jerry, are you there? Can you hear us now? He cannot. Okay, so we are getting a message that states he can hear us, and I think we may have solved the problem here. Let's find out. Okay, Jerry, are you there now?
Yes.
There he is. All right.
Oh, okay.
I am... I'll tell you what. This is one of the stranger shows that I've been a part of as far as communication and people or something not wanting certain information to get out, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I burned a little sage while I was sitting here, so.
good. And you know what? That's funny.
Holy water as well.
That's funny because, yes, just like Jen said, she sprayed some holy water around the studio here. Yes, our notes and things are a little, we could say, leaky. But she did spray. That is funny that we both thought the same thing to do because we both had senses that something unusual was going on. So, Jennifer, let's continue back with you. I know you had some questions for him. Now, let's keep our fingers crossed that there's no more supposed ghosts in the machine. Jen?
Welcome back, Jerry.
Howdy.
For the third time.
Yes,
Welcome back.
for the third time. Hopefully your sage and my holy water will get us through the rest of this night.
Well, let's see what happens.
So, I understand that you were in my hometown of Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Due to the confidentiality, you said you can't talk about it much. But I was wondering if you ever went down to the river where Chief Moosdung was and felt any strong presence or energy there.
Found there was energy. We just kind of, dropped tobacco and burnt some sage and stuff like that, asking for, forgiveness and stuff. And that's about it. But you could feel that there was something there, but I can't say that it was, malevolent or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, because the true story about it is that he cursed the river after losing his daughter, and just about every year we lose someone in that river.
Right.
So
yeah, I've heard that.
Yep. So I was just kind of wondering.
Hence, Thief River Falls.
Yeah.
I learned that. Why the river is called Thief River Falls, because it steals, essentially.
Right.
Is that why they said that they called it that?
Well, what the story, when I moved here, going on about 8 years now, my gosh, the story that I got is that what would happen is children, years and years ago, would be taken by the river, so to speak, either by, say, falling in or some sort of incident to where they, unfortunately drowned, and they ended up naming the river Thief River because of its stealing the children. So that is the story that I was told when I first moved here. I was curious about the area, and that is a story that I was told about Thief River.
Could have been just to scare you, too.
Well, I did work for the railroad, and yes, there was many things that were attempted to scare me, but I don't think this was one of them. I think this was real. So, Thief River Falls, there you go. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Gotcha.
Yes. So, Jerry, as a child, did you experience any deja vu?
Oh yeah. Many times.
Can you explain?
Yeah. How
Sure.
would you? Yeah. How would you explain deja vu, especially in your situation?
Well, in deja vu, I guess I thought it was like almost out of body type, time travel. It sounds weird.
Right.
When I was a little kid, I was like 7 years old, and we had just bought a brand new couch, and I jumped on it, and I was sitting there watching TV, and Mom peeked over it, and she was like, "Don't go to sleep. You don't sleep on the couch.
Right.
You go to bed if you're tired." And I'm like, "No, I'm watching TV." Well, I fell asleep, and all of a sudden, I was like projected to being 14 years old. And I was sitting there next to this girl. Her name was Randy, and she was like my girlfriend. And we were watching TV, and then all of a sudden, she elbows me and she goes, "So what do you think about that?" Pointing to the TV. And then Mom woke me up.
Jerry, I hate to interrupt you, but
Sure.
we have a phone call.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So let's see here. Okay, caller, are you there?
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
Hi, am I on the air?
You are on the air.
Oh, cool.
You're on the air with
Tim.
Jerry Ayres. You have a question
Hey
for Jerry?
guys, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Oh, that's good, Jerry. I was listening to your interview, and it's awesome. I've had a lot of experiences myself with EVPs, and after witnessing a sudden death, I came to believe that these things are real. I just wanted to know, what is the most scariest place that you've investigated, and what is the most scariest experience that you've had while investigating?
You know, I've been down in Faribault. We did a place one time, and I was attacked, and I was stupid. I provoked, and I wouldn't stop. I kept doing it, and it kept attacking me, and really hit my heart real good and my chest and stuff.
Wow.
You would think that would be the scariest, but that's not. Actually, the scariest place is a place we're doing this Saturday, and we've got room for the ghost hunt. It's called Hotel Bar and Grill in Humbird, Wisconsin. And you could spend the night there, 2 people, $90. Now, that place we've investigated 3 times. And this last time we investigated, I don't know why this scared me worse than anything. This place is ultra haunted. There's always something going on. But we were sitting down in the bar part, and I like to wear a body cam so I can catch everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Very
where I
smart.
was sitting, my body cam was facing towards this Budweiser light that would go around in circles. And the next thing you know, it started swinging
Oh, my God.
violently back and forth on its own. And nobody noticed it. And finally I was like, guys, do you see this? And there was people going up that, were like, they were kind of into the paranormal, but they're putting their K2s on it, and they're like, oh my God, it's giving off. And it's like, no, that's electricity because it's moving around and stuff. That's what's going on, but it's not supposed to be doing that. There was no train that went by that night. There was nobody upstairs that could jump on it because this place is solid.
Yeah.
And I don't know why so much fear went through me, but oh my God, I mean, even looking at the film that I have for that right now just freaks me out. But in this place, there's nothing so far that has ever hurt anybody or anything. Like some of the rooms, you're sleeping and all of a sudden the door will unlock and it'll pull the sheets off your bed. Another room has a creeper that creeps around the walls and then across the ceiling.
Yeah,
and we're
no.
talking truck drivers.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, thank you on that room.
Yikes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you big baby. No, to be honest, I wouldn't go there either. But if anybody's interested, there's still rooms available. And if you just want to go on the ghost hunt, it's only $35.
We'll have to get that information up on our Facebook group, as a matter of fact.
Definitely.
I appreciate that. That would be great.
Yeah,
And mine's up
we'll
on
do that
mine,
after
which
the
is,
show. No question.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
one quick other question. You had mentioned, Dan, at the beginning of the broadcast
Yes.
that Jerry had a podcast.
That
What
is
the
correct.
name of
Yes.
it?
Jerry?
What is
That
it?
is,
Where can I listen?
Right. It's called The Calling Radio Show, and
Okay.
it's on sorry guys.
Oh, it's okay.
paraxradionetwork.com. It's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's just an hour show.
Okay, great. Sounds good, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. We
Thank
thank you for
you.
your phone call.
Thank you very much for
Okay,
calling
awesome
in.
show.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
All right, bye-bye. All
Sorry,
right.
guys, I get an opportunity to plug something, I'm going to plug it.
Yeah, hey, you know what? We're all about it, man. Yeah. Whatever you want to plug, you go right ahead. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll put that up on NTR Facebook at the end of the show so that anybody that's interested, including me, I can tell you that right now, can actually check that out and figure out a way to get out there.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So, well, the wife can stay home.
Yeah, you can stay home. There's nothing to do,
Well, I'd have to carry on the other two shows.
Well, true. Yes, you'll have to carry everything on your own. Can you do that?
Oh, I suppose I
could. This is for the sake of research purposes, Jennifer.
They might like listening to me better than you anyway.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're going to separate the shows. It's kind of like Twix. Which Twix do you like better, the left or the right? So, but, real quick there, Jerry, roughly how many investigations have you done in total, and has it been mainly in Minnesota?
Minnesota, we've done Wisconsin, of course. We've done, Santee, Nebraska.
Okay.
We've done it all over. Yeah, Santee was awesome. It was at the, in the Indian reservation, at the museum of theirs.
Okay.
It was intense, man. It was intense. Especially, there's a tree that's out front, and it has branches sawed off.
Okay.
And I didn't even notice it, And that night when we were doing the investigation, this huge shadow person come walking up the steps and just stood there and stared at us.
Okay,
and
that's
there was
extremely creepy.
Four people that were upstairs, including a linguist that spoke Dakota. And
really?
So anyway, so I ran after it. And when I opened up the door downstairs,
yes.
this little girl who's like 5 or 7, well, maybe 7 years old, was just standing there. And I almost ran into her. It scared me something fierce.
I can imagine.
Well, they claim that this little girl walks around in there. They never said why. Well, the next day when we were going through the museum and I was looking at all the pictures, I seen these kids. This place used to be called the Birdhouse School.
The Birdhouse
That's where,
School.
They either have native children come in there, and they would, teach them there. And these two little girls, they were sisters. They didn't want to be there anymore. And the one I seen was the younger one. So now this is really sad, guys. But her picture was up there. They said that everybody confirms that's the little girl they see. And then they told me the story that she didn't want to be there anymore. She wanted to go home. So her and her sister snuck out. They went up to the cedar tree. They crawled up the cedar tree, and they hung themselves in the tree.
Oh, God.
The next day, they found them dead, and they sawed the limbs off the tree, so no other children can do that.
Oh.
And it was a really, really sad thing that had happened there. Just the whole thing right now, I think of that, and I think about all those residential schools that are out there that all these poor children were stuffed into because of Catholic, and they wanted to, what did they want to do? They wanted to kill the Indian and save the man.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted to do, but they murdered so many of them. And, murder is the right thing. Now, Pope, what's the Pope's name? Right now.
I believe
Pope John?
No, it's not Pope John. It's Pope Francis, isn't it?
Pope Francis.
Yeah.
Francis, yeah. He said already to the Canadian people, or to the Canadian natives, that he apologizes for what these schools did in the way that they did it. But he didn't say nothing about apologizing and drawing, that everybody and all the Catholic priests and everything else should apologize too. They still will not apologize in the United States or in Canada. And I think that's wrong.
It
I
is.
think it's really wrong. I mean, they took all these poor children, and a lot of them were molested. There's stories of molestation and stuff. We actually had someone ask us, well, you know where that one place is. Are you guys going to go there and investigate the grounds? No.
Right.
What would we do that for? You know, they're in their world. We should not be messing with anything that's Native American. You know, you find an arrowhead and you leave it.
Yeah, you don't remove it from its site.
Tobacco, you don't touch stuff like that. It's not ours.
Yeah, it's. You know? I mean,
we colonized the land and stole it. You know, and that's not right. Sorry, I'm got up on my soapbox. You know, I don't apologize for saying it, but
no, hey, you know that's we're here for you to say whatever you have on your mind. That's not a problem with us whatsoever. But yeah, you absolutely are correct. Anything that has to do with Native Indians and things of that nature, you don't remove things, you don't dig things up, you don't build things on. This is kind of common sense, I would hope, for a majority of people, but there are some out there that still don't understand that. Now, Jerry, how many people do you have on your team? What is the collective experience of years, I guess, with your team?
Right. Well, we have 10 people on the team.
10. Okay.
We have me and George, who's the original members that started the team, and May is a minister, and so her and I used to do what we call double taps.
Okay.
So we'd go in a place, I would smudge, and then she'd do the religious side to double tap the land, you know, and or the area that was having problems. George, her husband, was one of the best skeptics and one that knew, you know, oh, it could have been this, you know, and he would even be like, you know, wanting to take apart, a door latch just to say, well, the door latch is wrong, is bad or something like that.
Yeah.
George is good at what he does. Then we have Mike on, who's one of our lead investigators. Bella, who is the lead investigator, and she's also, I like calling her my spider girl because I hate spiders, dude.
So do I.
Spiders. And there's a place that we did, and spiders they love me. They're like, oh, there's that fat guy.
They sense the fear with me.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, I think me too. And so she's always right there to say, stay still, Jerry. I need to get this spider off you. And it's,
God.
Thank you, Bella. Thank you. And then we have, of course, Stephanie and Katie, who are two of the best investigators that I've ever come across, and they're part of the OG, the original crew of
the original cast. Crew. Okay.
Yep, the original ones. Nicole, who is now a lead investigator too. She's really good. She's such a sweetheart. I think she's the youngest member of our team.
Okay.
And then two others we brought on, Mariah, who's also a psychic. She's really good at what she does. And Crystal. Crystal so far has only been on one investigation with us, but she showed that she has a lot of interest and no fear in the paranormal, which is good. You know, what's funny is that women make the best investigators.
They do.
87% of women will stay strong while the guys will run.
You know
that?
Yeah, you know what? I know it now. I kind of sensed it. But yeah, that is absolutely right.
Women make the best investigators. I do have to say this. So a friend of mine who's that is Dakota just sent me back. He said the reason that Thief River Falls was named Thief River Falls is because of Stolen Land River or Thieving Land River, meaning that the colonizers stole it from them.
Oh, okay. So I was told a semi-fable there. Okay.
Yeah, it could have been, I mean, I'm not saying that's fact, but that's what he's saying, and
Okay.
he's actually a very traditional guy. So,
Gotcha. Well, that's good. That's good to know. Because I was told obviously about the children, and now anybody with information about that Thief River, that's great. I would love to know that, obviously, because I live very close to Thief River. But I cannot believe the time that is flying by. We got about 30 minutes to go. Real quick, if there's anybody out there who has any more questions for Jerry, you can call at 1-507-384-9390. We have about a half hour to go, so like I said, if you have any questions, please give us a call, and Jerry will be more than happy to answer those questions. Jen, I believe you have a question as well.
And if we go over, that's okay, too. We're having fun here at Night Talks Radio, aren't we, Jerry?
Yes, we are. We're having a great time.
It's always fun here.
Awesome. So Jerry, through your connections with the paranormal, have you ever helped any of them get to the other side and received confirmation of it?
We have, as a team, we have helped quite a few people reach. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest ones, and this is so sweet, it was down in Faribault again, and it was a little girl spirit that ghost that she took a liking to me and to Katie. Her name was Emily. Now, Emma Lee was her name, not just Emily, Emma Lee.
Emma Lee, okay.
Whenever Katie and I would come down there, she would be right away talking to us. Now, how did we know it was her? Is that we did a thing with the K2 meter where she would whisper. And in whispering, the K2 meter, you'd have to watch it, it barely moves. And then sometimes she would talk louder. That's if what I call the bad boys weren't around. Because with this place, this was a farm colony for mentally handicapped people, where they taught them to have taught them to be self-sustaining, being able to work at farms and stuff.
Okay.
So, but doctors were having their way with the children, and these children were born, and some were stillborn. And they were pretty much, I won't tell you the rest of it because I am very upset with Lutheran Church down there because they love cover-ups.
Oh, my God.
It's a dirty little secret around that whole area there.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so little Emily, we had an event down there, and we had a couple psychics come with, and they actually helped us to move Emily on. But Emily has free will, so she could come back anytime she wanted. So one time, she used to come to me quite a bit. And at first it was kind of scary, but then it was like, it's Emily. It's almost like, a daughter, She was just so cute the way she would make herself known, and you could actually speak with her and stuff. And one day the last time that I actually spoke to her, I was working at O'Reilly's of all things, and I was working in the distribution center, and these guys were kind of saying, "Oh, we heard you're a Ghostbuster," and stuff. And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Oh, can you move things with your mind?" I said, "No, but how do you like this?" I go, "Emily, if you're here, can you please push this?" And it was just an empty bin. "Can you push it right at that guy?" And all of a sudden it flew across the what do you call it? The line that was there, and he got scared and he kind of ran.
Well, that pretty much set them in their place, huh?
It did. It was weird, but that was one of the last times that we had. Now, we went down last weekend to the same place, and I tried to call for her, but nothing came through.
Aww.
And, the big thing is that it's okay, because getting people to cross, there's a lot of times that people forget themselves when they've died. They may be afraid of crossing over because of bullying, because they're afraid of judgment from God.
Right.
They're afraid of just what's over there.
Or even unfinished business.
Right. Unfinished business, that's a different thing now. But this right here is, things like they made something. They're proud of it. They don't want to leave it.
Right.
So they stay there. But when we go to clear, we remind them that people have passed and they have gone and they want to know, where are you? And then we go and tell them, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, your cousins, maybe your brothers and sisters, your mom and dad, they're all waiting for you. But I think the biggest thing is when you start talking about their animals.
Oh.
Their horse, their mule, their bunny, their kitty, their puppy, all that stuff. Because it seems like you can feel, it's weird to say, you would have to be with us when we're trying to get someone to pass, and then you hit one of these and you can feel it in your heart about which one that you've made a connection, and then the next thing you know, they're leaving. It's unbelievable on how some of that stuff goes through. Now, like you were saying, that sometimes unfinished business is a big thing. We had a case where a man died, and his wife and child were survived. And they were at the house, and all of a sudden things started opening up and slamming and stuff. And Bobby Sullivan, a friend of mine, I asked him to come with, and he's like, "Sure, I'll go with you," because I couldn't find anybody else to go with. And we got in the house and stuff, and I said to Bobby, I said, "Now you're probably going to see what's going on here, but I need to do this my way." And he's like, "Yeah, that's sure, that's no problem." So I'm talking to the woman, and she's telling me about things that are happening, and I did feel that there was somebody there. And Bobby's sitting there, and all of a sudden Bobby says, "I'm sorry, I can't just sit by." I said, "What?" And he goes, "Your husband's here with us."
Wow.
And he's going to the basement where his safe is at. And she goes, he doesn't have a safe." "Yes, he does." And so we all went down to the basement. The son did too, but he kind of hung back, and I thought, something's up with this kid. And showed us where this makeshift safe was, but it was open. And Bobby turned and said, "Your son has everything that your husband had in there, and he has it at your neighbor's house because they're going to sell all those coins." Because this woman didn't have anything. She didn't have money.
No.
She didn't have anything. She never had to work. So the kid finally agreed that he did do that.
Oh, wow.
And that they called the parents, and the parents of the kid next door, they took all the coins together. They didn't sell any of them. She got them all back. And while we were standing there...
I do have to interrupt you here. I do apologize, but we do have another call. Are you willing to take another one?
Of course.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Let's see. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. You have a question for Jerry?
Yes. The thing I've kind of noticed when talking to different people about different experiences and stuff they've had, I find kind of a strange thing. I know it probably sounds like you talk about topics mostly about ghosts and spirits and that, is that I found that people who believe they've been abducted by aliens, and that also will have experiences with ghosts and astral projection, and it gives you the impression as if somehow this is all tied in together somehow. What does he think about that?
Jerry?
It's funny you should say that, because I do have a friend that her mother had been abducted and had implants put in her. And the implants just look like little metal rocks. Well, then they found out later that her mother was another one that had it done first. So it was the grandmother, the mother, and then the daughter woke up one day and she was like she lost 2 days. And her mom was really worried about her, and they brought her in, and they found that her wrist had 3 little metallic things embedded into her wrist.
Multiple times I've heard that now.
All the rest of them. Yeah. And this really freaked her out. As a matter of fact, she was going to come on my show a long time ago, and all of a sudden she didn't. I don't know exactly what the deal was there, but she also had paranormal things happening around her home. So could it be tied in? You know, no one can say, no, definitely not. You have ghosts, you have UFOs, you've got Bigfoot. None of them have nothing to do with any of them. You can't say that because, you know, the only time we're going to know that is when we die. When we die, I think everything's going to open up to all these questions we have. And that's like saying out there in outer space, there's no such thing as life out there, any other life. How do we know that? We don't know that yet. You know?
Right.
Well, some people say that they see a UFO, and they're like, well, there's aliens on that. It doesn't mean that there's aliens. It could be drones. We have drones. What's easier than to send a drone through in case of traveling millions of years away where no one's going to make it? You know what I mean? Unless they have suspended animation.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know if that is a fact yet. We don't know none of that stuff. So, yeah, I believe the only thing I don't feel, and I feel very strongly on this, but I don't think that UFOs and Bigfoot have anything to do with each other. But at the same time, Bigfoot is interdimensional. Now, who's to say? Because a lot of people say that UFOs are seen around a lot of areas where Bigfoot has activity. Well, maybe they can use the same interdimensional port or something like that. I don't know. But I just feel myself that neither one has anything to do with them. But that is an awesome question you brought up, man. That's awesome.
Very good question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Caller, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I was wondering if he's familiar with Jacques Vallée, the researcher who he kind of concluded he was a French astronomer who, of course, had also studied computer science and that. And he, in his research, he started off like kind of thinking that the whole UFO phenomenon was extraterrestrial. And then later on, he kind of switched to believing it's something more extra-dimensional, that it was more closely related to things like ghosts and poltergeists and psychic phenomenon and also maybe to demons or angels and this sort, and also maybe into cryptids like Bigfoot.
Jay?
Right. Caller, is your name Steve?
It's James.
James.
Oh, okay, sorry. You sound just like a guy that listens to my show quite a bit, Steve. Gosh, I don't know much about that particular person. I'm going to have to look into it. I know a lot of people are into, what's his name, Dr. Stephen Greer.
Oh, yes.
And I've tried to listen to his stuff. And so far, in my opinion, all I find is that he just loves to get $75 off each person to listen to him blow hard about UFOs and about, government and stuff like that. So, again, my opinion, not the opinion of the shows or anything like that.
Right.
But there's so much on the UFO level and everything else. It's like, we haven't even tapped a tenth of all the stuff that, that's out there.
Absolutely.
And everything like that, Yeah, those are some good questions, and thanks for bringing up the topic. I'm going to have to do some research on that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, James. James, yeah. So is that, you have any more questions there for Jerry?
I can't think of any offhand.
Oh, okay.
They'll
Well,
probably let you get another caller on there and
yeah, no
see
problem.
what they might ask.
I really appreciate your phone call.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
James.
thanks, James.
Yeah.
Steve, James, yeah, one of those.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, Steve Breaker, who used to be with Sim a while back. He sounds exactly like him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, you
We
have.
used to always call Steve the cooler because ghosts would never act around him.
Oh,
We'd
really?
have K2 meter things going, we'd have activity and everything. Steve would come by and it would all stop. He used to get really upset about it. I used to tell him, man, you should go to Vegas and work as a cooler. You know, you guys know what a cooler is, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
He would never be a part of the action. That's so sad. But I appreciate the phone call there, James.
You bet.
All right, you
It's
have.
a great show you got.
Well, thank you very much. We're definitely trying over here. Okay.
You bet.
All right. Have a good night, my friend.
You too.
Okay. Real quick, there, Jerry. Can you tell us about Waverly Hill?
Okay, Waverly Hills is an awesome place. It was the first place that we went to and did I call it a paranormal vacation. I don't believe that it's a real, in a real haunted place. No, it's haunted. I mean, it's not a place that someone could say, I'm a ghost hunter because I went there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just more of a place to go for vacationing and stuff. But anyway, so Waverly Hills is awesome. You go there, and it's just like Tap says. You don't have to go looking for ghosts. They come looking for you.
Oh, wow.
It's an amazing place. But right now, the real people of Waverly Hills, Tina and Charlie, have lost the place.
Oh, no.
They brought some friends in to help them out because they were both sickly, and they decided to form a committee type thing, and decided to let the historical society pretty much, they got grants and loans from them and stuff, and they're paying themselves a 6-figure salary.
Jeez.
So they've actually taken the whole place from Tina and Charlie. They've taken their home. They can't go on it. They own it still, but they can't do nothing. So the big push right now is SaveWaverlyHills.com, and that's where do not make an appointment to go through there because the people there don't know what's happening with the paranormal. They hate the paranormal. They just want your money.
Wow.
So it's to wait until after the court is done and everything, and that Charlie and Tina get their place back, then start on. But there's, so many people are like, oh, I don't care about that. It has nothing to do with me. I just want to go. Don't.
Yeah.
It's ethically wrong to do that. If something like that happened to your home, what would you do? Would you want people to,
Yeah.
to investigate on your home and stuff like that?
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
you wouldn't. So just hold fast. And, I'm sure within a year, I mean, the place is not going to go dry of ghosts. They're there. It's an incredible place.
Didn't you say something about there's a pink room or something at Waverly Hills?
No, not at Waverly. No, not Waverly.
Oh.
That's at the Hotel Bar and Grill in Hamburg, Wisconsin.
Oh,
That's where
okay.
the
That's
pink room
the creepy one where the entity or whatever crawls on the walls and the ceiling.
It's amazing there and stuff. As a matter of fact, it's funny is that my co-host from The Calling, Kimberly Juarez, stayed in the pink room when we did the Para Expo last year, and her and her daughter, and they woke up and looked up, and there was the creeper. The creeper lives off of fear and everything else. They weren't afraid. They went, "Oh my God, look at that. It's really true. Look at it." And they watched it, and it went right out the window and didn't come back for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
wow,
by then I'd be 24 miles away.
So did it have claws or something like that to be on top of the ceiling and stuff? Was it more like a dynamic thing?
It was well, no, not demonic. There's nothing there that's demonic.
Okay.
There's things there that are scary and stuff, but nothing that's demonic.
Nothing demonic. Nothing from another plane of existence.
But maybe a little.
Wow.
Nothing demonic. Nothing from, say, like another plane of existence or dimension, perhaps.
Right.
Well,
but it's still a very interesting place. You guys really need to go there.
I would love to.
Really need to make an appointment for next Saturday.
I'm telling you, you have convinced us, Jerry.
Next Saturday.
And this is a very good possibility.
Should we put Night Talks on the road next Saturday, maybe?
Night Talks will go mobile next Saturday. How about that?
Okay, Jerry. Well, we are running out of time, sadly to say, so I do have one last question for you. Which brings me into, have you had any dynamic experiences? And if you have, can you tell us about them?
You yourself.
Yes. Yeah. We did have one demonic case that we did in Clara City. And it was my wife and I at the time went there. And we went into the basement. They were telling us about all this stuff that was happening. And all of a sudden, these black, oily ickies, as Steph would call them, came down from the ceiling. Yep, came down from the ceiling, and when we would look over at them, they would quickly retreat into the well room. There was a well room there.
Okay.
It was the most incredible place.
Like creatures with red eyes?
I mean,
no, they were black and oily beings.
And so they had no real features then.
No, they didn't have really any features. They were just very shiny, and you just knew they were not good. And now the thing with that is that also we had once we did an investigation, and the spirits there would talk, but only talk to the owner of the house.
Really?
And what I mean is that we would ask a question, nothing. We'd have our K2s, nothing. Her mother would ask a question, her stepmother, and nothing. No, wouldn't answer anything, wouldn't answer any question. But when she did, she had a K2, it would go nuts.
Wow.
When she'd be like, "Are you a relative of mine?" And then the lights would go on, yes or no, one light, yes, many lights and stuff like that.
Wow.
And it was all sorts of things going on. And she did have a relative in 1948, blew his head off with a shotgun in the basement.
Jeez.
He, at this time, did not know that he lived there, that he owned that place.
Wow.
It was pretty creepy, but
so did you get rid of them?
Yeah, we got rid of them. We went to clear it. My wife at that time had found that I had a house blessing kit. It was actually an exorcism kit, and she used that. And the lady that owned the place used one of our video camcorders to tape. And we had I'll do it real quick. Sorry. In the room that the guy blew his head off, Steph took put holy water on the window across, and Tony, one of our investigators, was holding the cross with Jesus on it, and crucifix, and reading from the Bible. And all of a sudden, the crucifix, just Jesus on a crucifix, broke off and flew into the room, and it still has not been found this day.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So nobody knew where it was. But when we were upstairs and filming still, Steph started putting crosses on the bathroom windows. She'd come walking out. Tony leans forward, then leans back, and this white ball of light comes from the ceiling. I have this on video.
Wow. You're going to have to send that to
and
us.
And explodes out in a black mass.
Wow.
And it was unbelievable. And then I showed that to Reverend Michael Schrader, who was an exorcist.
Yes.
And he's like, oh my God, Jerry, this was a high-level demon, because that's the only ones that can break a religious artifact.
We need to post that on NTR Facebook. I want people to see this.
Yeah, can you send that to us?
Yes.
It's actually, it's on our website, and it's on our Facebook, too.
Okay.
Our website is siminnesota.com, and our Facebook is Supernatural Investigators in Minnesota Facebook. And just kind of rummage around in here. This is some real cool stuff.
Okay. One more time for the audience. Say that again, your website and all that.
Sure. The website is siminnesota.com. SI like Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
Not Sports Illustrated. And then the Facebook is Supernatural Investigators of Minnesota, all spelled out.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Have to have you back.
Jerry, I can't believe it. I mean, we're out of time here. We're up against the wall. But we need to have you back. We need to have you back, buddy.
I would love to come back, guys.
Okay, because
love it.
we haven't even got through the EVPs yet, really. So
I know, and you haven't even played the best ones yet.
I know. So I think this is going to have to be a part 1, and we have a part 2 then that we shall schedule in the very near future. How about that, Jerry?
Sounds good to me. I'm up for it.
All right, my friend. We will definitely be in contact. I want to thank you for coming on the show today, and I want you to have a wonderful evening as well.
Have a good night, Jerry. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Okay, good night. And like I said, we'll be in contact, my friend.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Night, guys.
And there he was, Jerry Ayres. And my gosh, we got to talking about the paranormal and ghosts, and then Ghosts in the Machine again. And look at that. We're at the 2-hour mark already. It seemed like it flew by.
I know, and I didn't even get to finish all my questions.
I mean, we have so many things to ask Jerry. And we also have a ton of EVPs that we wanted to play, and we were not able to get to all of them. So consider today's episode a part 1 of 2. We will have Jerry back. There is no doubt about that. Any final thoughts, Jen, on today's show?
Yes, one very final thought is that I am definitely not going to go into the pink room.
The pink room sounds a bit creepy and scary.
I don't know what I would do if I saw something crawling from the ceiling to the walls and then going out the window.
Like I said, as soon as I would see anything of that nature, I would be in the next township. So...
One more quick thing here that Jerry did not get to mention here about the dynamic experience. He did tell me about that. And that house, as soon as he told the owner what had happened, the owner quickly sold that house. But since the owner sold that house, the vortex, has been reopened now because the new owner of the house wants to connect with her dead husband. And Jerry and them will not go back because of the fact that she has called him a fake.
Unbelievable. I don't think there is anything fake about Jerry whatsoever. But I think that's going to wrap it up. So, for Night Talks Radio, Jennifer Gregerson and Jerry Ayres, our special guest tonight, this is Daniel Brewer saying so long from the great Upper Midwest, and we shall see you again next weekend, my friends. Until then, stay safe.